Good morning. We hope that you are having a good day. We just want to let you know that we will be having some of these videos off and on for the next few weeks so you guys can still learn your material and all of the things that you need for school. We're going to continue working on what we've been working on when we left. So for math, it was lesson 27 area. So lesson 27, you learned to find the area of a rectangle by counting the number of square units that covered the rectangle. And in this lesson, you're going to find out how to multiply to find the area. So just in like this problem, where it says Jenny wants to find the area of the rectangle at the right, but some ink spilled on it. How can she find the area if she cannot count all of the square units? Well, let's figure that out. So she spilled ink, right? You can see it here in the little black spot. Now, normally we would be able to just count the squares, but because there's ink here, we really can't count them, can we? Or can we? Let's look. So A wants to know how many rows are in the rectangle. Blank rows. So take a look for a moment while I grab my pen and figure out how to write it in. All right, how many rows are in the rectangle? Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3. So we know 3 rows are there. How many square units are in each row? Well, this little square equals 1 square unit. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 square units. Multiply to find the number of square units that cover this rectangle. So we have 3 rows. We have 5 square units. So we know it has to be 3 times 5. Can somebody tell me what 3 times 5 is? If you said 15, you are correct. How many columns are in this rectangle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many square units are in each column? 1, 2, 3. Remember, this little square equals 1 square unit. Multiply to find the number of square units that cover the rectangle. Okay, so we have 5 columns. Got that covered. So 5 columns. Columns go what? Up and down. And we have 3 square units. That means we have 3 rows that go across. 5 times 3 is what? We already said it. 15. If you got 15, you're on a roll. Nice job. How many square units long is the rectangle? Well, let's look. Is long up and down or horizontal across? Across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice job. How many square units wide is it? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. And explain how you could find the area using the length and width of the rectangle. So we said that the length and the width we have, right? Length, width. So now we want to know how we can find the length and the width of the rectangle using the area. Well, let's look. We have 3 rows of 5, right? So now we know that we have at least 5 columns, 3 rows. Explain how you can find the area using the length and the width. So let's see. Miss Barker is just going to tell you because this one's a little tough to write, which is okay. That is fine. So we find the area by using the length of the width. So we know that the length and the width are 5 and 3. So we take 5 and we take the 3 and we times them. So when you times 5 times 3, it equals 15 square units altogether. Nice job. Next. So now they're showing us how we can find out a little bit more information. So we know that you can measure the area by a shape or of a shape by counting the number of square units that cover that specific shape. So sometimes the square units in the rectangle are not shown, like in Jenny's rectangle. Other times there are too many square units to count. There's another way to find the area of the rectangle. So we know there are 3 rows, 5 columns. 3 times 5 equals 15, so there are 15 square units. Now, the rectangle is 5 squares long. So the length of the rectangle is 5. 5 units to be specific. The rectangle is 3 squares wide, which is the rectangle's 3 units. 5 units times 3 units equals 15 square units. The area of Jenny's rectangle is 15 square units. Okay? So it's basically we just took those 4 squares right here that were all inked up right here, and we just kind of drew our line, and I'll even draw a line to show you. There, and across, and across. There we go. So there. So all we had to do was just kind of fill in that ink spot, and it still looks the same as this. All right, so let's reflect. What are some real-life examples of objects that are rectangles that made of square tiles in rows and columns? Well, let's think about that. Let's look at, I know we're not in the classroom, but our rug at the classroom, okay? It has those squares, right? But all of those squares, they make up our rug, which is a rectangle. So we could use that. If you have something in your house, maybe like a tile floor, I have a tile floor, I could use that as my rectangle, and then I could count the square tiles. Anything like that that you have, or maybe like tiles on like a wall, anything like that you can use. Okay, let's learn how we are going to multiply to find the area of this rectangle. Oh, someone notice anything different about this rectangle? If you said it has no square units, you are correct. It doesn't show it, right? But let's picture it for a moment. You can use models to help you multiply. The model below shows the rectangles covered by 1 centimeter square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Area of this little square, equals 1 square centimeter. So let's model it. You can also use words to help you multiply to find area. The length of the rectangle is 4 centimeters. They drew it right out for you with dotted lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 squares will fill a row. The width is 2 centimeters. 2 squares will fill a column. So they're kind of showing you, so if you continued this, you can see it better. So see how you have 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 across. So let's do this last one. I would like you to think about this a little harder for a moment. How many 1 centimeter squares can fit along the length of the rectangle? How many 1 centimeter squares can fit along the length? Remember, length, width, okay? So the length is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to put a 4 here. What is the length of the rectangle in centimeters? Well, 4 centimeters. How many 1 centimeter squares can fit along the width? Let's look. 1, 2. So that means our width of our rectangle is 2 centimeters. What does the problem ask you to find? Let's go back up and look. What is the area of the rectangle? Well, we know our width, we know our length. So let's just say, we'll say V sorry, this is really bad because I'm drawing, but it's okay. We'll make it work. The area the unit of measurement for the length and the width of the rectangle is centimeters. What is the unit measurement for the area? What did we say that the unit measurement of the area is? Square. And you can use SQ and a dot, maybe, and a dot for short. Square units. Complete the equation below to find the area of the rectangle. Okay, what did we say that the length was of the rectangle? Let's go look. The length is 4. The width is 2. So we know the length is 4. We know the width is 2. So now we need to figure out, how do we find square centimeters? Well, we do 4 times 2 equals 8. Nice job. The area of the rectangle is 8 square centimeters. Explain how you multiply to find the area of a rectangle. So let's explain that out loud. So when we are multiplying to find the area of a rectangle, we are going to do what? Width times length, or length times width. It's going to be the same thing because they're the same two numbers and they equal the same. And then you're going to get your square centimeters. So that will be your area. In this case, 4 is the length, 2 is the width, 8 is the area. So let's look at this real quick. So what is the area of this square? I'll give you a moment to try it. Okay, if you said 3 times 3 equals 9 square units, you are correct. I accidentally made an arrow instead of an N. There we go. So an N units there we go. A rectangle has the length of 8 inches and a width of 6 inches. What is the area of the rectangle? Well, let's look. I'm going to actually draw this one up on my board real quick. So I'm going to make my screen bigger and tilt. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, there's my rectangle. And it said 8 and 6. So we know that our length is what? Can someone tell me? If you said 8, you are correct. And our width is 6. So that means that there are 8 across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across. I know it looks kind of backwards to you, but you get it, 6 and 8. So then we know that there's 6 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we know that there's 6 on this side. And then we could kind of fill in this blank space as we go. So we could do I'll do dotted lines so you can tell where I added them in.